Welcome to the Honest Property Podcast with your hosts, Rebecca and Ruth. And we like to talk about all things property, business, and entrepreneurship. And today we have Sam Cooke, who runs Blue Bricks magazine. We'd love to know a little bit more about Sam. So we got to knowing Sam a while ago because we really love the ethos of the magazine and just everything that Blue Bricks is about. But Sam, could you let us know why you started Blue Bricks and
Yeah, so it's a very different one, really. So I didn't actually start Blue Bricks, and people ask me, I don't know why it's called Blue Bricks. I actually don't have the answer. I think the answer, I think the answer is the person that started the business was just like, I like the word blue, and bricks is kind of property, so we'll call it Blue Bricks. And I've been trying to think of some kind of bullshitty way to make it mean something, but that's just kind of the story.
an idea. Like blue zones. They're like longevity people, like people who live a long time. Maybe Blue Bricks could tie in with blue zones.
Please, I've never heard of Blue Zone, but that
Yeah,
could
they're
work.
like parts of the world where people live more than 100. Centurion, isn't it? Because they have a really great longevity way of living their lifestyle that it's like healthy living and all of this. It just helps them to live a long lifestyle. And that kind of seems like that ties in really well with Blue Bricks.
So if you want to restart this podcast, what we can do is starting, and I could say that's why it's called Blue Bricks. So yeah, I bought Blue Bricks magazine. When did I buy it? 2022 it was, so coming up to 3 years ago now. I worked at Blue Bricks magazine as the marketing manager, so I was hired by them in 2021. I was thinking about it on the drive to the office this morning. Actually, I've been in the property industry 5 years now, including bits before Blue Bricks. So I was hired as the market manager, and basically Blue Bricks was owned by a private equity firm. So what that firm would do is they would buy and sell businesses. And I kind of fell in love with that world. I very quickly went from working full-time for Blue Bricks to working kind of part-time on Blue Bricks and then part-time for the private equity firm that owned Blue Bricks magazines. Go out and find businesses that were suitable for acquisition. We would analyse the figures, see if we could creatively buy it, a bit like you do with property deals. And then kind of fast forward a year from working with them, the owner at the time still is an extremely good friend of mine, one of my closest friends, and kind of said, look, I know you want to do your own thing. I know you love Blue Bricks. We're looking to sell Blue Bricks. Do you want to buy it off us? So that's how I kind of ended up buying Blue Bricks, kind of using some of the techniques and stuff that he taught me, and then went into being the owner of it in 2022.
That's so fascinating. So how do you find, it's so layered because it's obviously property, investing, and then running a business. But buying a business is a whole kind of its own sort of asset in itself. How do you find, how would you compare the outcome, I suppose, of buying property as opposed to buying a business?
Yeah, so I think when you buy a property, you can, obviously, depending on the deal, put a tenant in it, and provided you get a good tenant and you've not got any issues with the property, almost sometimes forget about it, pass it to an agent. And with a business, you're buying something that a lot of the time you have to be very involved in. And a lot of the times when you buy businesses, it didn't really happen with Blue Bricks, but I know of people that buy businesses that have this. Skeletons can come out of the closet, there can be money that's owed that they didn't realise when they owed the business. There can be vital employees that leave the business. There can be problems that crop up. The reason I say that is I have noticed a big trend online at the moment of the whole, you can buy a business, no money down. And I think, honestly, pardon me if you don't like channel podcast, absolute bullshit. It is, honestly, 100%.
Yeah, the podcast. This is the Honesty podcast. And sometimes swearing.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is some truth to all of that, but that's like saying you can become a millionaire with no effort. All you've got to do is buy a lottery ticket. It's that same concept.
Yeah. And I think systemizing how you run a property is relatively easier to figure out than a niche kind of business that isn't quite as easy, like common knowledge to figure out and put together all the cogs and wheels.
Yeah, 100%. I think business and property, there's quite a bit of overlap, but they're also two very, very different things at the same time. And I think there's a lot of people that make fantastic investors that wouldn't make great business owners, and there's people that make great business owners that aren't very good at investing. So there's a little bit of overlap, but not too much.
Yeah. So when you took over Blue Bricks, what was your vision for it? what, because I know that we have very much the aim of just dispelling all the bullshit that floats around the industry. What was your vision for Blue Brick?
What it stands for now is ethics. That was a huge thing. That's how we did the Blue Bricks Pods, which were ethical, and also we talk a lot about the truth and being very real. That happened accidentally. I never bought Blue Bricks and intended for that to be the route. When I bought Blue Bricks, I never even actually had the idea for the award ceremony. When I bought it at the time, I'll be honest, I didn't really know. I'd kind of like been granted this opportunity, and I said yes because that's what you do. And then I was like, oh wow, how do you publish a magazine? I've not done that before. I've done the marketing, but not the publishing. Okay, we'll figure that out. And then slowly over time, as I became more involved in the industry and met more people, I started to figure out what people needed. And a lot of people were looking for honesty. A lot of people were looking for the right people to kind of look up to and guide them. A lot of people were looking for community as well, because it's extremely lonely, this property. You can be on your laptop all day looking at Rightmove. The only time you'll speak to someone is when you're speaking to an estate agent. And I've been an estate agent. Unless you watch Love Island, they're not very easy to talk to most of the time. So it can be quite a lonely sort of role.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Full honesty. Yeah, I think it is really refreshing. And I'm really glad that we're both a part of this movement together to make it just really transparent. What were the biggest things that you felt like the magazine was going to dispel compared to other magazines?
Yes, I think the big thing for me is when I interview people, like when we do a case study, for example, we'll always, we talk about the refurb. And one of the questions you ask is, okay, what problems did you come up against? And it's amazing how many people have gone out for budget, or they've had a builder that's done something wrong or walked off site. There's all kinds of things that have gone on, issues with the vendor and negotiating. And when you drill down into it, found that's the content that people really want to see, not just because you're showing the truth, but when you can find out what problems people have had and what costs them money, you can then go, well, how did you solve that and how would you avoid it? And that's the content that then helps people to save money on their next project. Whereas if we just showed all the really nice flashy stuff, I mean, it's great and it's inspiring, but it doesn't help people. And I think, to be honest, that is one thing I wanted Blue Bricks to be when I bought it, is I wanted it to be a magazine that helps people. Because a lot of magazines are nice to have. There are a lot of, I'll get that and it's going to be a nice read. I've always wanted Blue Bricks to be something that people feel they need to have because it genuinely helps them.
Yeah. I think there's a lot, even on social media. This is why we started the Honest Property Sisters, was because you're only ever seeing highlights of everyone's successes, and it can be quite exhausting, especially when you deep behind the scenes, if you've had experience in the industry, that that's not a constant. Those highlights aren't always every single month, and it's not always positive. Like you said, everyone learns from the negatives, and that's what people really need to be able to make sure that they don't end up making those same mistakes. That's going to save them a lot of money.
100%. And what I will point out is, just in case anyone's listening that's not read Blue Bricks, it's not a negative magazine. It's not just the magazine that goes, you should probably invest in crypto. It's much easier. It's actually, we do show the truth and the real side, but a lot of the magazine is some fantastic case studies, amazing, inspiring stories from people that have done incredible things. People that have started out and gone on to build huge portfolios, or who are starting out now and showcasing their journey in the project. So all the content in there is really, really popular. When we're interviewing people, we just don't shy away from the difficult stuff as well.
It's so important. You've got to have a good balance.
Yeah, I think so. And it's strange when I meet people at events. I mean, you two will know, because you're very popular. A lot of the things people say to me is, I love your content because how honest you are. And that was a really weird thing, because again, I never set out to be that way. I've just always kind of been that way.
Yeah. There's a lot of fake it till you make it sort of analogy that I understand how that came about, but I feel like we've moved on as a generation from needing to, it's exhausting trying to pretend you're something you're not, and just to feel like, or prove yourself that you're being successful at whatever it is you're doing. And actually it provides such a huge disservice for anybody who's trying to get to that place and completely neglects the reality of what it takes to get there, and whether it's even the right thing for them or not. So I'm so glad that we're connected and we're having more, and you're sharing honest takes with the world. How did the awards come about?
Yeah, so it came about with an investor of mine. We were kind of having a bit of a consultation. It's like, you should do an award. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I was like, all I need to do is get a venue, sell tickets, and then we've got an award. So yeah, I mean, the stress almost killed me from it, but that's actually how it came about. And then the way it went from just an award ceremony to, for anyone that doesn't know about the Blue Bricks Awards, we held it in a castle at Petthorpe Castle in Chester. We had 250 people there, and the awards are based around ethical investing. We had awards for people contributing to social housing, people helping local charities and making a difference in local communities. We had awards for New Investor of the Year, Property Paragon, so who's doing the most good in the industry. We had ones for obviously Deal of the Year, Co-Living Project of the Year as well, all the standard stuff too. And the way that came about was I was looking at other awards. I was like, I've never done an awards before, so what I need to do is the moment I announce it, it needs to pop. It needs to be something people go, shit, I really want to be there. One of the words I used was Instagrammable. I was like, I want to have this venue that people go up to and the entire experience is magical and they just want to film it and put it on the social media because that's great for our marketing. And I was like, yeah, well, it works. And someone I know was having a wedding in a castle. I was like, that would be fantastic. I accidentally actually had the awards in the same castle they were getting married at. But I was like, that wasn't why I booked it, but it was, that was the experience. And there was one venue, I almost had it in its cathedral, and it had like stained glass windows and this huge ceiling. But the cathedral's in the middle of the council estate. So I was like, I want the whole experience to be magical. And if you're like driving past an off license and a Betfred, to then kind of park your car and worry she'll still be there when you get back. Yeah, it doesn't work. So that's how it came about. And then the ethical property awards, again, I was like, what am I passionate about? What's the industry need? And what is something that's a little bit different to what everyone else does?
I think that's really good because I think, well, especially for us as well, we want to see more of that content. We want to see more behind the scenes in property of the people who are that pushed more instead of like the greedy landlord. Like that's so outdated and that doing Blue Bricks Awards and highlighting the good that people are actually doing within the property industry, like needs to be shown more.
100%. Yeah, that was the thing. And one of the things I said in my opening speech was, if you win an award, please write to your local newspaper and just say, look, I've won an award for doing good. Because I'm so sick of seeing landlords in the news being bad people. I know there are bad ones, but the majority of the people I meet in this industry are good people that want to better their own lives and who want to better the lives of the tenants. You know, I've seen people bring their tenants who are suffering from addiction to property events to try and help them improve their lives. You know, I've seen some incredible stuff, and I think that needs to be showcased.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like 2025 really is the time that this is going to be highlighted even more, especially with your help with your magazine as well and your awards. I really do believe that 2025 is the year where landlording really shifts into showing that ethical side.
I think so, yeah. I think so. It is tricky. It's an uphill battle. But, you know, there are organisations like the NRLA, for example, that are doing a lot of good to try and help.
Yeah. If you're not a member of the NRLA, then do be a part of it because there's so many useful resources there, and it really, really has helped us be better landlords because there's just so much research, so much information on there and documents that you can use to be able to help your tenants and get legal advice as well.
Yeah, if you're stuck, it's better not to guess your way through and make sure you've got a checklist of legitimacy and being compliant. And NRLA is just a great one. We'll add the link to the NRLA as well in the show notes for you. So with your background in property, what strategies have you done? What have been your biggest learning curves with being a property investor yourself?
Yeah, you know what? I actually haven't done as much in property as I'd like to do, for the reason being that obviously I bought Blue Bricks magazine. So every time I've gone to have money to invest, it's ended up invested back into the business, which isn't a bad thing because my strategy is to build a strong cash flowing business to then invest back into property. I did my own refurb last year. It was meant to be a light refurb. It ended up plastering and ripping stuff out and all kinds of stuff. And I'll be honest, the main reason I did it myself, and I would expect to pay off people, is just I wanted to learn and get more involved. That's literally the reason why, and I'm glad I did it because it was really good fun. The rip out's good fun. Putting stuff back together isn't that fun.
I agree, because like when we first started, we did majority of it ourselves, minus the electrics and the plumbing. because we wanted to learn. You're going to learn the most and know how to not also get ripped off when you do a lot of the work yourself first. At least do it once. If you're going to invest, like try and do as much of it as you can. Like we really believe in doing practical work and then outsource it, the bits that you don't want to do anymore, to other people. But without that knowledge, you just don't know if you're getting a good deal or not.
Yeah, 100%. You're absolutely right. It taught me a lot. And yeah, I just enjoyed it. I enjoy learning. That's the thing. And I think there's no better way to learn than to really just get stuck in and do it yourself.
100%. I keep feeling like, oh, if I ever kid, I'd be like, you're going to be an electrician. You're going to be a plumber. Yeah, and then it'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are really like quite pricey to, or maybe a roofer as well, and them doing one thing each.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I got midway through and I was like, why don't I pay someone? Like, the novel is kind of worn off now.
Yeah, I think especially if it's a really tedious thing. I don't mind painting. Painting's fine. Can smash that out pretty quickly. Yeah.
Oh, and ripping carpet.
Yeah.
Love.
Quite therapeutic.
Yeah.
Rip just
if you're feeling really angry that day, you just
heave the carpet off.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll be honest with you, because the way I did the refurb, I worked on blue bricks all through the day and basically did the refurb at night or in the evening. If you had a stressful day at work, it's fantastic to just pick a hammer up and take apart a set of wardrobes.
I love that because we can definitely relate, because when we started, we were also building a business and we were building beds late at night after we finished day job. It does take a lot of dedication to want to be able to do both.
Yeah, it is hard work. I mean, I think for me, I'm wanting to do a lot more in property next year, and I've got a JV partner I'll be working with on that. The thing is, I keep saying to people, I've got all the tools and all the knowledge and all the contacts to do whatever I wanted to do, really. I've just not been utilising that because I've been so focused on blue bricks. But now that's at a point where next year I'm going to be hiring an editor to replace me. So basically,
that's a big move. That takes a lot of time.
But it's all a process. That needs to happen in stages. I think it can be so easy to outsource too quickly with like anything in life without like there needs to be a tipping point when it's like, okay, now I'm actually ready to focus a bit more and delegate more time into your investments. But yeah, I think it can be too easy to outsource too fast.
Yeah, it can, and especially with an editor, because it's such a specialised job. So when I make that hire and I'm speaking to someone at the moment, that means that I'll basically be redundant from the business in a good way. So I won't be needed. Now that we've got, staff and structure in the business, it's much easier for me to say, look, I'm going to go do and work on this project, because you're not neglecting your business in favour of doing something else.
Yeah, for sure. I think, that's the goal really, isn't it? If you have a business, you want to be able, I think Ruth and I have mentioned this book several times, but in case you haven't heard about it, it's called Clockwork. I'm pretty sure it's just called by Mike Mokowicz. Yeah, I don't remember the last name, but
put it in the show notes.
The whole point of once you've built your business, you need to be able to step away from it and have it function and run without you, and figure out your core team, what your processes and automations and systems are, so that you can take a step away. And that sounds very much like what you're achieving now. Yeah, make yourself redundant, but that means you're free to go on holiday or start investing
or focus on the area of the business that you enjoy, that can bring in the revenue, instead of focusing on the other tasks that can be delegated.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just focusing on those tasks, like you say, over the past month, I've brought in an exceptional amount of revenue into the business because that's been my sole focus. And I think when the worry I had with hiring an outsourcing, it's A, will I be able to fill this person's time? And then B, you've always got that worry of, well, losing money, it's an extra expense. But since hiring someone and focusing on sales, it's more than made that person's way.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure when you're hiring people.
Yeah, to get the right people as well. I think that's the difficult part. And I got lucky. It was my second interview. I got my marketing manager and he's perfect. He's in the room, actually. He's smiling. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got to say that. But when we start recording, I'll tell you the truth. But, while we're here.
I feel you, though. We've hired staff in the past, and sometimes it wasn't a good fit, and then sometimes it was just an amazing fit. And I think the filtering process of knowing who is right for the business can be really incredibly taxing, because you are like, dealing with people's lives like quite directly. So having to let anyone go or just recognize that something's not working out, kind of like a breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels recent, actually. You okay, Odd?
They say hire slow so that, and fire fast.
Yeah, I do agree with that one.
So let's just go back. I feel like I've digressed a little bit. Let's go back to the strategies that you've done. What sort of investments have you got under your belt at the moment? Or you look at HMOs? I'm pretty sure I saw you have a service accommodation, right?
Yeah, that's what I was refurbing. That was in Leeds when we were refurbing that one. And then next year it's going to be HMOs, which is the full customer JV partner. Because that's what they specialise in too. So that's kind of niche made in heavy.
Are you going to continue just to grow your HMO portfolio?
Yeah, I think that'll be the main focus for now. I feel a bit taboo saying this one because obviously a lot of this is residential investment. I really like the idea of commercial. I think that's something I would look into going in the future too. And then also just continue investing in business and businesses. I've got a huge passion for that alongside property as well, which, I love property, as everyone knows.
Yeah, we always say that any sort of business and property is like the perfect marriage, because you get the best of both. Like they both bring such interesting, what's the word? Like they both give you so much fulfillment from completely different angles. That's why we love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And a few of the people I follow, and definitely the way I was kind of taught, was cash flowing businesses allow you to do property on steroids to do things much easier. I think the thing is me, I do have access to private finance. I just need to use that. And it's been about finding the right time. And I think 2025 is definitely that right time, now that we've got everything where I need it to be.
Having the magazine, having Blue Bricks, and has naturally given you an incredible network of people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How about platform? How valuable do you find, what difference has it made by having this network? How much,
It's huge just in terms of the people I'm connected with. And I kind of lose sight of that because I'm so used to it now, because these people have just become friends. So I'm not like, oh, I've got a huge network. I just have some really good friends. When I want something or I want a particular person, it doesn't matter how big the business is they work for. I found I can typically get access to almost anyone I want through someone in my network that I know. So that's been extremely useful, because if I have an idea, or there's something I want to create or set up, I found it's a lot easier for me to do. Whereas I think when you start a business, when you first ever start a business, you're like, all right, okay, I better tell my mum and my nan and my friends that I've got this business, and then try and go from there. Whereas now when I do stuff, like for example with the Blue Bricks Awards, it's much easier to just get stuff sold because I have that network already there. And that trust as well.
And when you're finding people online for Blue Bricks, how do you sift through people who are basically just talking bullshit? Like, how do you actually find people that to question? Yeah, because the online world is full of bullshit. So how do you
identify this?
Yeah.
It's a really, really good question. And a lot of the people that we're interviewing now, the guy that was on the front cover of Next Issue, he had not much of a social media presence before I met him. So a lot of the people have now, I don't want to say they're hidden, but they're not, like influencers, for example. A lot of people who are getting a magazine going through recommendation. So the people that I know of or have known for a while, or the people I work with know of and have known for a while too. So it's not like, we'll just find someone on Instagram and then just like, hey, you've got good content. You can also, you've got to be careful with this one. You pick up a bullshit detector after a while of being around people, where you can kind of tell what's real and what's not, and what people are actually doing stuff, say and don't say, and how they act and how they react. And then from people's content, it's one of the things I look for is how much are they actually doing. So you can have great social media and a great presence, but it can be you in front of a camera talking about how amazing you are. How many of those people are actually inside with a blue high vis on? How many of those people are actually doing stuff like, this is my project, this is what I'm working on, this is the numbers. That's the stuff I like to see, not the hypotheticals. So that's one of the things to be careful of. I stay away from anyone that's too flashy too. So anyone that's like, I'm a property millionaire and blah, 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 like, that's kind of not my cup of tea.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, it takes a while to get there.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it's hard to build that in because when you first come into the industry, everything's so flashy and loud and, all these people, these huge followings. And then as you go with time and you get to know people, that network that I was talking about, I can rely on now if there's anyone I'm unsure of to just say, hey, do you know anything about this person? Are they okay? Have they got the all clear?
Yeah. So we found you, was recommended your Blue Bricks magazine through mutual network, and like always, and then found out what you were about, and we just thought, oh, this is amazing. But it all comes down to your network, doesn't it? And the people that you know, and it's all recommendations. And I think that's a really good point, is that when the online world can feel so flashy or you don't know who to trust, but all you have to do is find the people that you trust within the industry to give you the right recommendations.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. I think it's about, people confuse having a network with how many people do you know. And I think for me, it's how many people do you know that you've got a relationship with, that if you need anything, you can actually message them. And people know they can message me with anything and I'll always be there for them and I'll help as many people as I can. And that means that if I ever need a hand from someone, I know that person's always going to be there to reciprocate.
I'm sorry, that was a chihuahua. If you ever hear a weird noise in the background, she's asleep and she snores. I'm hoping she wasn't, but she has been like snorting, so sorry. Yeah, sure.
That somehow doesn't surprise me with you two. It's a chihuahua.
We have a little collie. I'm just looking after this one, and she's been really quiet until
Well, to get back to what you said, like, when we started in the property industry, I will honestly say we were completely glamorized.
Yeah.
Being told that, oh, we'll retire by 30, we're going to be like living the life. And I was like, we got to 30, it was like, no, like actually, the promise was to retire. And then we got like
with a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
With the way that your life is going to look.
Yeah. And then we got to 30 and went, actually, I personally don't want to retire because there's so much more to life. Business is fun.
Yeah.
Business is fun. Like, why is that the goal, to then like suddenly sit on the beach and do nothing as well? That sounds like a very unfulfilled, unpurposeful life. And we just didn't agree with that.
Yeah.
The image of what it looks like to be a property millionaire was to do nothing after that. That was like what was painted to us in the beginning. But when you're young and a bit naive, you think that's the goal of success,
not to work.
But then actually,
I think the goal is not to not work, but to work on your terms.
Yeah. How you actually help people through all of everything that you've ever done in business and investing, and how you actually help people. Like we were talking a lot this morning as well about just like the whole, like, yes, it's property. You do want to make profit, but if it's in the expense of over people and trying to, then you're like, with business, it's all about good customer service. And don't you want your tenants to stay as long as possible, or your guests to have a really good experience and give you great customer feedback, But I think the old narrative of landlording was very much like profit, 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 not caring too much about the people that you're serving.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And there are some people out there that are like that, unfortunately. But what you were saying about that being an unfulfilling kind of existence, I agree. I was in Egypt not too long ago and I was on the Sun Lounger. And I was like, this is hell. Like, because everyone talks about what is your why, and my why is that this is just who I am and it's what I enjoy and I love doing it. And I find fulfillment from building and creating and having my business and growing that business. I don't find fulfillment from being a glorified starfish. Don't get me wrong, like some people enjoy that. And I'm not, I'm not talking that down, each to their own, and that's absolutely fine. It's just, you've got to understand if that's for you or not. And I think sometimes when you go into business or property, I know it sounds a bit strange, but you can find yourself. And I think you can find yourself like you did, loving property. And very soon that goal of freedom changes to, actually, I just want to keep doing this. That's what happened to me.
Oh my gosh, 100%. Like, Ruth and I we read the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, and then we're like, it's going to be stocks and shares or property that's going to make all the money. And then we're like, well, property sounds less boring. But then the more we were in property, the more we were like, love this.
Yeah.
Great. And now we're on a podcast talking to you. Like, what? And you have a magazine. Like, how did that happen?
It's strange, but that's what I mean. It just becomes fun, doesn't it? I think. Don't get me wrong. I think if we're all very young, maybe when I get to 50, I'll slightly change my view on that, and I'll start to feel like, what business is fun, but I want more time and relaxation. But for now, when you've got the energy, I find more fulfillment in doing this than I did kind of just being on the beach.
It's that saying, it's called, I saw it, how was it? I can't remember where I saw it, but it was said, aspire to retire. I was like, maybe actually it's aspire to invest in other people's businesses, like later on, so that you help other people.
That's a goal.
That's a personal goal for us.
I would love to be an angel investor and just be like, okay, pick me your idea, love it, do it.
Yeah, good thinking. But I think you're right. It's just, if you enjoy that way, won't you? And helping other people, that's something I'm super passionate about, giving back. That's always been the goal.
Yeah. And I think I wish we could see more of that online. Like, I really hope that we see more of that on social media, more about the reasons why people do invest. Yes, of course, there's a selfish point of like wanting to look after yourselves. Our first why was to give back to our family, our parents who work really hard.
There's hierarchy, it's like you need to have money to pay for the essentials, and this, like, you have to earn to cover the basics, but then you just go up these tiers and fulfilling activities like giving back and knowing that you're helping people is like the cherry on top of a good life, in my opinion, and that's the goal. What was the phrase? Being a starfish? Glorified starfish.
I love that. I can use that now.
Yeah, I might get some flack from that from some people, but yeah, I think there's nothing wrong, by the way, with making money or having the goal of making money or that being your main priority. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and I think it is very much just each to their own. But you're right. It's like, before you can go and help other people, you need to have your own life sorted. And unfortunately, and due to the cost of living crisis and house prices constantly rising and the way the United Kingdom just is in general, you need to have money to survive. And that money, I was looking at statistics, and I think being a top 20% of earners in the UK have gone about 40 grand or just above that. I think the top 10% might be about 65,000. Now, if you're in the top 10% of earners in the UK on 65 grand, you can't live a luxury lifestyle. You can't eat out 3 times a day, and you're in the top 10% of earners. So no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to make money. It's just doing it in a way that doesn't take advantage of it.
Exactly. And there's people who are the earners, whether they're getting it from a business or it's a wage from an employer. A lot of these people are also living paycheck to paycheck, and because it's so expensive to live in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really expensive, and it doesn't look like it's going to be getting any cheaper anytime soon.
It does. Yeah, this is quite a heated topic, I think, because there's going to be some very devout patriots out there, die hard, like, I don't know. I'm going to just say it. Say it. But they're kind of living in a dystopian vision of what the UK was, but that's not the reality today.
It's not the 80s.
No. And we have to adapt. Like, there's so many more people in their 30s, 20s, maybe even 40s, just probably living at home with their parents or just having to find ways to live, because it is an uphill kind of, like, you just feel like you're falling backwards all the time just trying to exist in the UK.
Right, absolutely. And don't get wrong, for anyone listening that is a patriot, you can't slander the UK too much. We've got the NHS, one of the only countries with free healthcare, so there's a lot of good in this country, and we're lucky to be here. But I do think...
I took my A&E the other day, and it took 9 hours to get seen.
9 hours?
9.
That's
even if we get free healthcare, I'm like, what is the quality of this health?
Because the staff are stressed. Under a lot of pressure. It's just,
Right.
Yeah, my cousin's a doctor, and some of the stories he tells me. Yeah, it's quite bad. But I mean, we are in a strange situation with England, where it seems like you need a lot of money to do, not the minimum, but to live a comfortable life. And it seems that bar year on year seems to be raving.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom, guys.
No.
It's just adapting and being creative. And I do believe that people's spending habits will just change and evolve over time.
And the way we live will change. Like you creating these HMOs, there is a demand because we have to have shared housing now in order for people to survive, in order people to be able to pay for a roof over their heads.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not the worst thing. Like back in the 20s, I think every family had like a massive house
with a big garden.
And like that's just, it's not the reality anymore.
Yeah. Like people, like what families, they don't want like the huge garden anymore because they're all working. So it's like we've changed over how many years? As a society.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's the thing. There's always pros, there's always cons, and you've just got to stay positive, but also stay practical. No, we are lucky to have a lot of things we have, but you've also got to look at some of the problems and go, how can I overcome that? And how does that also present opportunities?
Mm-hmm.
I think landlords and property investors can do a lot to help ease the housing crisis. What I think it's despicable a lot of the time. Property investors are blamed for the housing crisis.
I know.
It's just simply not true.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, there's a huge rise as well for social housing and supported living as well, and that's going to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. It will do. And I am hoping, I'm staying positive that some things can change. That, for example, we've got permitted development rights now. That's going to help a lot in creating new homes. That's quite exciting.
Yeah, that is really exciting.
And if shops are closing down, I don't know if this is what you mean by the commercial side of investing. Is it because what I've got in my mind is, as an opportunity, a lot of physical shops are shutting down, and that's opportunity to turn those with permitted development, to turn those into residential properties instead.
There's that. I was thinking more just keep the commercial unit and put a business in there as a tenant on a lease. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of scope to convert the commercial units into residential now.
Yeah, well, we were talking to a lady at a Women in Property event, a lunch in Bristol, and her whole family, was it 2 generations of commercial property within the family, and she was saying to us that the future of commercial property, if you want to be in that sector, is just making sure that you have short, long, mid leases so that you can really diversify and leverage off. If you have it's like with the property or business, isn't it? Just if you're only you have a diversified portfolio and you're only focusing on just one type of, say, short leases, then you're going to have a big dip in your cash flow every time those businesses leave.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is about that diversification. And I think in terms of diversification too, property investors like yourself, I think that it's going to go now more in the favour of people that are investing professionally. I think the people it's going to really come hard for are the people that are just, I'll have a couple of buy-to-lets alongside that full-time job. And, I met someone the other day and my boiler's just gone in my buy-to-let, and that's pretty much my profit for the year now. I think that's a bit that's coming tricky.
Yeah, that's so true. That's where having a business and property at the same time, or if not, just if you're in a partnership with somebody, having somebody who's got a job whilst you invest. So then really, if a boiler breaks down and that wipes out your rental income for the year, the benefit of the property is still having an asset that goes up in value over time. And that's why business and property go hand in hand so well.
Yeah, completely. It does. It really does.
Yeah. So with your awards, when's the next one?
Oh, dope. Yeah, everyone asked for this. Setting up that awards was, the night was fantastic and it was a huge success and I loved it. Building up to running it, I was kind of erect towards the end of it, but it's one of those things where you put so much effort in, but the moment then it's like, yeah, we're absolutely going to do this again. So I will be doing another awards. The plan at the moment is to do it bi-yearly. Just because I like to swap stuff up, do things a bit different. If I do another awards, it's not going to be the same as last year's. It'll still be around ethical investment, but we can do something even bigger. The answer is I'll have a day for the awards and figure out how to top the last one, because how you beat a castle, I don't know. But I will be launching, and I've got to keep this on some hat for the moment, but a really large event 2025. It won't be an awards, it'll be something else, and it'll be something that people haven't seen before in this industry.
You can't divulge. Is this a watch this space?
It is a watch this space, unfortunately. But the moment that it's out, you'll know.
Okay, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm really curious now. It's on a screen.
Yeah, it is going to be. I can tell you when the podcast stops.
Pardon?
I'll tell you when the podcast stops recording.
Okay. Well, guys,
Watch this space.
watch this space.
It's going to be a thing.
Amazing. So, just to wrap up, Sam is do you want to, you're offering a 3-month trial to Blue Bricks magazine.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a 3-month trial of Blue Bricks. So included in that is obviously we'll post you the latest issue of Blue Bricks magazine in the post, so you can get the magazine, read it yourself, see what you think. We also run monthly events. We've got an in-person one and an online one, an online webinar where we bring together all our readers from Cornwall to Glasgow. So that's included in your subscription too. So for no money, get free magazine, join our event network, listen to some of our guest speakers. The last speaker we had was Paul Lanphier, did a case study on an all money out deal with £250,000 profit, walk through the entire process on how we raise the finance and everything, completely free for members. Sign up, join a webinar, get the magazine and see what you think.
Amazing. We'll put the link down in the show notes for you to subscribe. And where can they find you?
They can find me at Blue Bricks Magazine.
Amazing.
Thank you.
We'll put that in the link below as well. Yeah.
Thanks for being really honest throughout this whole conversation. I know it could be really hard to just say the truth, but we need more of it in 2025. So appreciate
everything you're doing right now. I'm really excited for you for 2025.
I'm really excited.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much. And if people want to find me directly, LinkedIn or Facebook, what I will say is you might be better off typing in Sam Cooke Blue Bricks, or else you will get the Soul Singer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Secret's other business that he does.
Yeah, that's wrong. Well, he was a famous soul singer, and I do like a few of his songs, but it does mean that my SEO is quite difficult because how you be one of the most prolific soul singers in the world, I'm not too sure.
And it's a great way to remember you, the
secret life of Sam Cooke.
Oh, thanks so much for being on the podcast, Sam. We'll see you.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Bye.